everyone. Welcome back to the Tax Sisters YouTube channel. We have our friend here, Paul. He's here, part of our community in Gilbert. Say hello, Paul.
Hello, America.
Hello, America. He's with us today because he is one of our closest friends, and we do a ton of work with him in our accounting firm. He's a local agent here, insurance agent.
Insurance,
he
yes.
He serves a huge number of people in the community, but he mostly specifies in small business.
Small business is my passion, yep.
Yep. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about what got him started in his area, his experience in the industry so far, what it's like working with small businesses specifically, tips and tricks he has for small business owners that are well groomed in their, ownership lives, and then the people who are also getting started out. And then just any advice. What's it like getting started? What do you need to think about, when you first opening up shop, etc. So, Paul, take it away. Tell us a little bit about life so far, the journey that led you into small business insurance.
So how I got started, it's probably going to sound different from a lot of different stories.
I think everyone's journeys are different.
I'm a mama's boy.
Really?
So my mom gets the credit.
Okay.
I mean, she basically taught me early in life to care about people, put people first,
yeah,
and your life will be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I went to business school and I followed all the rules, Kristan.
You followed the normal path.
Yeah, and pursue money and chase money. It's so rewarding. And,
yeah.
And I'm sure, money's got benefits to it.
Yeah.
But that path was hollow.
Okay.
It was missing something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
didn't completely fulfill you?
No, it didn't really. And then I remembered my conversation with my mom and what she had said. And I said, you know what? I'm going to really lean into that more. And so I just did. I kind of just let myself be myself and care about people.
Yeah.
And that's what led me into the insurance world.
Okay.
Because I like protecting. I love that. I love that feeling.
So when you say protecting people, is it the what am I trying to say? What's the word?
Is this
satisfaction?
Is this satisfaction you get? Is it rewarding?
Yes. Is it the rewarding? Being able to, because I know for me, insurance is so out of my scope. I have to lean on other people. It's not in my wheelhouse. I don't know anything about it. And it's kind of how us for taxes, people truly lean on us as their advocates, truly, because they don't want to know. I don't want to know anything, and it makes me so nervous trying to know all those things. So is it that, being able to have those one-on-one relationships? I mean, I'm sure you have clients that you've been with for 5, 10, 20 years. Yeah,
100%. It comes down to being able to help folks realize their dream. I mean, just watch them dream and to make sure that nothing is going to interfere with that dream on my watch.
Yeah.
Nothing's getting in the way. I say to them, think about this. If someone was to give you a golden goose and you're reliant, think about owning a golden goose.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Wouldn't you want to protect it? Wouldn't you want to insure it? Wouldn't you want to make sure that golden goose is always there, always producing for you? And that's literally what your business is.
It's true.
And let's face it, every time you make money, you find success, there are things out there that are envious and or may want to try to sue, which we all know in America, everybody's doing these days, right?
Everyone, yeah. I'm going to sue you.
It's the end thing.
Might be a slogan we have to
make. So the bottom line is you got to protect that. You got to absolutely protect your assets. You got to protect your business from any sort of litigation. And that's the primary reason you have insurance right there.
Yeah. So tell me kind of about products and services you offer as a whole for small businesses.
So we do all of it. We do workers' compensation insurance, which I can get into a big nerdy discussion about that.
Yeah, that can blow up.
But it's actually one of the few good things the government did, the Workers' Compensation Act of 1955, is in the benefit of both parties because they wanted to make sure that folks couldn't sue and basically take over a company.
Got it.
They want to make sure that company was in existence so that people had jobs. So the long story short is the workers' compensation waives your employees' right to civilly take your business away from you because you have given them care in that workers' compensation policy. Okay. At the same time, they have the medical benefit. They actually have a life insurance benefit inside that if they're killed in the line of work.
Okay.
And there's rehabilitation expenses for both parties, the employer and the employee, to retrain them into a different position when they're well enough to do that.
I actually didn't know that.
Yes.
And it's crazy because I know that in Arizona, the minute you have one employee, workers' comp is necessary.
It's a law.
Yeah, it's
The
so
Department of Labor
necessary.
is all
So
over
I
that.
didn't know it was so. I just thought it was like, oh, I sprained my back.
Yep.
I need workers' comp. You know.
And when you really think about it, you're protecting your business, and you're also doing right by your valuable employees, right?
That's true, right?
So we do workers' compensation. We do general liability, which extends from slips, trips, and falls, all the things that can happen, the weird things you never thought would happen. Next thing you know, you're getting served and being sued, and you're like, what? To products completed in operations, which is a big one for people who, you ever hire a contractor and they do flawed work, that flawed work, part of that's covered under completed operations.
Okay.
If you buy a product from someone and that product is faulty, that's what products liability does.
Okay.
So it protects that. So there's all these wonderful things that general liability protects you, including, but not exclusive to, the cost to defend yourself, which we all know attorneys aren't cheap.
No, they aren't.
So you got to make sure you have that in your holster there.
Yeah.
Then we do any investment, any equipment, parts, product. We can cover all that under business personal property.
Okay.
If you have a building that you own, we can cover all of the building. If you lease the building, we can cover parts of that in which you lease that the landlord makes you responsible for.
Okay.
We can literally cover every single aspect of business. And I got a question for you.
Yeah.
A little trivia. Ready?
Yes, hit me.
Fastest growing type of business insurance today, what would you say it is?
The fastest growing type of business insurance out of the ones you just mentioned?
Nope, I didn't mention it yet.
Oh.
That's the trick.
The ones that cover in the event that something happens to the owner.
Well, that's a good one, though.
Is it a good one?
That's actually the largest one from 9/11.
Is it?
On the anniversary of 9/11, by the way.
Oh, dear.
Today's the day.
Mhm.
So, yes, business income is a big one. That was actually, during the Tower Fall, all those companies, that loss of income was the most amount of damages awarded was through business income
Wow.
for all those companies, right?
I didn't know that.
Yep. But that was a good guess.
It was a good guess. So what is it?
The fastest growing, most in demand is cyber security liability coverages now.
You know, I wouldn't even thought about it, but you hear about all these huge hospitals going put up for ransom and Bitcoin and all this stuff, and then they have to pay it up.
And you know what's funny? The banks have gotten legislation passed now where they're getting away from their responsibilities. In other words,
Really?
a bank no longer backs your money unless it's adamantly the bank's error. If
Wow.
it's your error anywhere in the transaction, even just a little bit, they will not guarantee that money.
Yeah. Well, that's like you read all those Venmo and Zells, those very fine print, like you better know who you're sending your money to because it ain't coming back kind of
Yes. And if you're doing business via email, I'm going to tell you right now, stop. Don't do any type of financial decisions and exchange any type of banking information via email. It's the least securable form of communication.
Well, we know that for sure, that cyber attacks are on the rise because we got told, 2 weeks ago that they stole everyone's social security numbers from the government. So that's perfect.
Yep. I just had a client that had $141,000 embezzled from him. Wow. Through his email.
Oh,
He thought he was paying legitimate invoices to a known vendor that supplies him. They had eavesdropped on the conversation.
pulled all the information, replicated it.
Yep, changed the email, one digit. He didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, they're billing him. And before he caught it, $141,000.
Wow. So sad. Yeah, that's why it's so important to get your employees trained and everything. Wow. All right. Well, that was a whole ordeal there. Well, tell me about one of the things that I wouldn't say harped on. We've explained a lot on the podcast is that how important it is for new business owners to create a really solid foundation, right? With your partners, with your operating and legal agreements, how we're going to get in and out of this relationship if, stuff hits, the fan and all that stuff, and what's necessary. And we always tell people hey, you got to find a really good financial advisor. You got to find a really good accountant, and you really got to get all your ducks in a row with your insurance, right? So tell me, or a little bit of advice for those people. What are those things? What is the most necessary steps you need to take when you first birth your little business?
So the most important thing is to first do a deep analysis of what are you invested in most.
Okay.
So typically those things are people, because we know Our
Right.
payroll is one of our biggest expenses,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You see this in accounting, right?
Oh yeah, no, we tell everyone's, at least 30% of all the money they make goes back out to payroll.
100%. So you want to make sure that the people are covered, right?
Yes.
Because obviously you got a lot invested in them. And there's a lot of ways you can do that, from key man, key person,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Insurances to long-term, short-term disability plans for them.
Okay.
Different employee benefits and packages for that. All those things are key. And then you literally go down the list of the things that you have most invested in, that if you lose this would be,
Detrimental.
yes, detrimental. It would
Yeah.
be a colossal mistake. So those could be investments in inventory. It could be buildings at that point. Buildings tend to be usually one of the next big ones because, let's face it, real estate's expensive.
Totally, yeah. Something went up in flames here. Like, imagine the cost to replace everything.
100%. And then, of course, look at the cost of materials today with inflation the way it is. If you open a coffee shop, some of these coffee machines, Kristina, are $25,000.
Oh my gosh. We have one of our clients owns a couple of coffee shops here in Gilbert, and I see them like $8,000 espresso machine. And I'm like, oh my Lord. And they have 20 of them.
Unbelievable, right?
It's crazy.
Unbelievable. So that's basically what I would tell them is we'll sit down with them typically and we'll help them go through all the different things they've invested in, which ones they put the most in, itemize what's most important, and we start there. We build the plan according to what they can do, and then we grow with them.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. What are some common misconceptions that you've heard or firsthand that small business owners have about insurance?
Oh, geez. Well,
Give me your top 3. I know there's probably 50.
The biggest thing is, I just really want to warn folks, is everybody believes that it's not going to happen to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you, if I give you the best advice, it would be proactive in your business, not reactive.
Yeah.
Having an insurance advisor to help you be proactive and plan is much more affordable and much more protective of your business than having to hire an attorney, right, after the fact.
Yeah.
And then we all know you don't win 100% of the time when you get an attorney.
No.
Usually you spend a lot of money and you don't get the result you hope for.
Right.
So the most important thing really is really understand that having an advisor that understands and is passionate about the business, is passionate about your business.
Yeah.
Someone who listens to what's important to you, and then building that plan around that and be proactive. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And we hear from our own clients a lot, and we have that same thing, like be proactive instead of reactive, because in our world, it's about audits, right?
Oh.
People are like, that'll never happen to me. I've never heard of anyone get audited. And we're like, but what if you are? What if you are that person?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Why not take a few extra steps or, spend, 2 hours handling this and keeping track of all these things so you don't deal with 30 hours of headache down the road. Like you said, litigation, dealing with the IRS, any payments or penalties and interest. It's something that we harp on a ton, because if something's going to happen, it's like getting struck by lightning. Oh, I'd never get struck by lightning. And the day you do, you get struck by lightning. I mean, the odds are higher than winning the lottery. But at this point, I'd rather, get struck by lightning than be up against the IRS.
100%.
Seriously. So.
Can I speak to your industry real quick?
Yeah.
It's funny you brought that up because you may not be aware, but I have a nationally syndicated televised program. And I work with financial specialists and retirement specialists. And one of the most important aspects, believe it or not, it's not the differences in your mutual funds, the differences in your investments, because you may be 1% here or 2% there. The most important aspect that all the wealthy know is to have a tax strategist. Because having a tax plan can save you 20 to 30% of your retirement nest egg. Think about that alone.
Yeah.
And that's why we're all doing business.
Right.
Because someday we want to be free.
Well, yeah.
We want to have all of our time
We're
to
all
ourselves.
waiting on the clock to let us go.
So if you got $1 million, $2 million, $3 million company revenue you built up, now you're ready to retire. Are you worried about losing 1 or 2% or 20 to 30%?
Yeah, no, I'm worried about the big chunks of percentages.
Now you know I love my accountants.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Bottom line is they make a 20 to 30% difference if you're proactive, if you work with them, if you understand they're on your side.
Yeah.
They're on your side, and that's important to have a good team.
Yeah, and we talk about the relationship with our clients a lot. A lot of people come to us that don't use us on a monthly basis. It's just like a yearly, we do your taxes. And a lot of them are like, well, what can I do? I can't pay this money. I'm like, that year has come and gone.
Right.
There is nothing we can do about the past. The doors have shut on that.
That's right.
And that's something we do offer here, right? We have to tax plan, and I can't tax plan unless we are having constant productive conversations about your future. It's not of let's plan in December and hash it all out.
Right.
It's not enough time. We need to plan for this upcoming year, for 3 years, and for 5 years, because I can't make changes right now that might hurt you for 5 years if you want to sell, you want to buy another business, you want to buy more, any of these things. Those take longer than a couple months to plan out.
Yes.
So I totally hear you. We want to be that crutch, not like a crutch, but like I want you to lean on us. Like
yes.
We want to be there to help you create a different, story for yourself. You can't just only live in the moment when you're a small business owner.
Yep.
It's just not feasible.
Yep. I want to share a profound statement with the audience out there. I want to think about this for a second.
Yeah.
In your small business, if you had to go out and replicate all the key professionals you need on your team, think about this a second. If you had to hire an HR director and all the different components, what would you pay? How much is the payroll? What are the employee benefits? Run all those numbers. Mm-hmm. And then I want to challenge your thinking. Think about this. What if you contracted individual professionals that work for you and run those numbers? And I could tell you, contracting a business attorney, an accountant, an insurance advisor, all these people are on your team. Mm-hmm. But I promise you, you could do it much more economically for your business that way than you do if you have to hire all these people in-house.
Right.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah, no, we hear about it all the time. The companies that get super big and they're like, yeah, now I have to hire an HR professional. I'm like, oh, you're looking at $150,000, $200,000. Yep. Like these people know it all, right?
In-house accountants.
Yeah, gosh.
In-house, right? Mm-hmm. All that stuff gets really expensive.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Yep.
So you've been in the business a long time. You've been through it all, right? You're talking about all these changes. What are the most significant changes you've seen that have specifically affected small business owners in the industry?
Oh boy. So the biggest lately probably is lots of legislative changes, mm-hmm. and it's state by state, sometimes even like industry specific. The thing you really want to understand is make sure that you have, again, good teammates that keep up on the law changes so that your business is insulated from surprises. I think that's important with insurance. It's important with accounting. It's important with financial planning. It's important in everything you do in your business. So staying up with people who stay up on what's going on legislatively, because we're seeing a ton of changes.
Right.
Let's look at our country since COVID.
Oh my gosh.
The last 4 years.
I tell people all the time, I can't even begin to comprehend how close that was in my life. Even though it feels so long ago.
Right.
It was just a couple years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And the decisions you make were whether or not some of these you survived, some folks didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right? They
true.
Invested their entire family savings into, say, a restaurant that could never open.
Yeah.
How often have we seen that?
A lot, yeah.
So I really do say you got to stay up on the legislative part of it, and you want to definitely make sure your partners are doing that. And meet with them. Please meet with them. I mean, the number one thing, a lot of folks offer virtual options these days, so it doesn't have to be in person. But boy, if someone's going to spend time with you and give you advice, take it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so vital because that's part of being proactive, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think, and I tell people all the time, like, you don't necessarily have to work with me or, take my advice, but at least gather the advice.
Yes.
Don't put your head in the ground, because we hear that a lot. And especially when it comes to tax time. Well, I haven't done my taxes for 5 years. I'm like, whoa, for 1,500, 1,600 days, you put your head in the ground? Like, what were you weren't helping yourself. And there's so many things that changed, and, you could have been missing out on all these things. And now you have to go back and claw your way out of this hole. And it's no fun for anyone, especially, for us too, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, we'll do business with you, and I definitely want to be on your side to help you out. But it's not a fun situation to be in, because it's so painful to watch them go through it, right? Can you imagine like being up against that and be like, all right, 5 years worth of taxes I had to catch up ASAP. It's just hard.
Totally. I would imagine it's a lot like weight loss, right?
Yeah.
You want to lose weight. Well, you didn't gain 30 pounds overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight.
Yeah.
So if you didn't take care of your taxes
Yeah.
for 5 or 6 years, you can't expect your
Just to
accountant
fall
to take
off.
care of it in 5 minutes.
Mhm.
It's going to take some time, right?
Right, right. Is there any one-off situations or stories you have for us about, a not named, you can't name them, right? Client that you had that they brought you a situation that you were able to, dig them out of a hole?
I don't know so much. Probably digging them out of a hole. I've done a lot on the audit side of workers' compensation. But if I could share, the moment you started asking that question, I was thinking about a gentleman who, can I tell you a success story on somebody I
sure.
coached all the way through?
Yeah.
So I had a young man who came to me with a dream. He was an ambulance driver, pyramid.
Okay.
Right? Worked his tail off, really just, made an okay living, but it was struggling, And he came and talked to me, and we talked about multiple income streaming, right? How do you get multiple incomes and what that looks like? So I was able to work with him. He was a young man at the time, and he listened. It was the most important part of the whole prospect was he listened, which is why I kept meeting him. And we laid out a real estate investment plan, and I helped him buy his first business, and we worked all of these lines.
Yeah.
So let me fast forward because I'm not going to bore you all to tears because this is the super cool part.
Yeah.
10 years into it, he calls me up one day. He says, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I said, "I got some appointments going on. What's up?" He said, "Well, I want to take you out to Barrett-Jackson. I know how much you love classic cars." And,
Oh, wow.
And he goes, "I have a VIP pass up there, and I want you to come up." And he picked me up in a limo.
Wow.
He took me to Barrett-Jackson. We walked this whole event, and he literally says to me, and I hope I'm trying not to get emotional.
Oh.
But he said, "I just wanted to thank you for taking the time, and I wouldn't be here without you."
Oh.
And he gave me this giant hug, and I was like, this is why I do this job.
No, and that's literally brings
it.
us back to like the first couple of sentences that we started this podcast with. Is like, you do it because you're a mama's boy too, and
No
because
doubt.
it brings you so much, it fulfills you so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think people realize from a service perspective how much people like us thrive on helping people. It's truly in our nature that no one wants to do taxes. Like taxes isn't like, oh my God, I love doing taxes. It's the best thing I do all day. It's meeting with people, learning about their lives, creating the relationship. I have people that have seen their kids grow up and tell me about their kids going to college and they came back from the army and, creating those relationships and being with them and just learning about their lives and then stuff like this, right? It comes full circle. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we have so many people that have come to us and then now they're like, I bought my first rental property. I bought my 5th rental property, all in that short time that they've been with you. And
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's like watching your own kids grow. You see all their milestones, even though they're not your family.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's crazy cool, and we see it all the time. And we have we serve a really large population of people, so it's all kinds of different lifestyles and history and excitement and anniversaries and people tell us about, we went on our first cruise to Alaska and it's very exciting.
Yeah. And their kids and, 'cause that's the number one thing I don't know about you, but I love when I just hear families talk about their kids.
Yeah.
We all love our kids. Right? Yeah. And when they talk about their kids' dreams coming true and the opportunities that's been created, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain how wonderful it feels to be connected.
Yeah.
And honestly, Christina, I think now more than ever, too, people want to be connected. They're looking to be connected.
Right. Especially because our world is so disconnected. We don't meet a lot of people one-on-one anymore. And after COVID, like you said, a lot of things became secluded. No one has. Yeah. Like I come from a very large Mexican family. So before COVID, it was like parties every Friday. Let's have huge fiestas. Our weddings were 300 people.
I love it.
But I got married.
La Familia, right?
Yeah, and I got married just after the brink of COVID, and I only had a 70-person wedding, and now we don't have our little hangouts every Friday and barbecues and meet up at the park for our Easters with 200 people. So people are just, they're trying to latch on to those relationships, conversations, and situations. Yeah. So, gosh, that's a lot, and I'm so glad. It's crazy, right? I hope he's your friend forever.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he will be. He's going through a challenge right now. It's on the flip side of it. He's going through a divorce, and that's rough.
Yeah, it is.
But just to be there for him.
Totally.
I told him, I'm here regardless, and you know what? You're going to get through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
No.
get through it.
So you talked a little bit about having like, a tax strategist, your financial advisor and stuff like that. And we've worked a lot with my clients going to you, your clients coming over to us. And one of the things that we talk about and then, we correlate a lot on is the insurance factor in the world of tax strategy. Give us a couple of those examples, how you, work with them, with your clients, and how you plan for those things.
Yeah. So again, the insurance factor in any kind of tax strategies, as you're building your net worth and your growth, you got to shield it.
Yeah.
And let's just face it, your one medical drug reaction to a bad car accident that could kill somebody, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And now you're wondering,
oh
my gosh, what's going to happen? Are they coming after my assets?
Yeah.
So then at that point, Christina, you're never too far away to realize, well, there's no amount of accounting at this point. There's no amount of financial planning at this point that's going to protect me. What's the one thing that's going to protect me? And that's insurance.
Right.
And primarily personal umbrellas, commercial umbrellas are one of the areas that we find we work with accountants and tax strategy folks dramatically on those areas because, again, they're helping you save, they're helping you build, they're helping you grow. We absolutely got to put a shield around that. We got to protect it. And so umbrellas are a big way to do that. Workers' compensation is another one. You guys know how close we work on that, right? Because I got to have it. And if you don't, it just really, it can put you out of business. I've literally seen folks that didn't believe it.
We have.
And the Department of Labor locked them out of buildings they owned.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
You get fined 10 grand. And then they lock you out. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of that stuff. That's important.
And we always hear those horror stories, right, where people never believe it, but all of a sudden they're putting liens on your home. They're, drafting out of your own bank account. They're pulling all your funds. And, people don't believe it, but that stuff happens. You may hear it, far few and in between, but it happens. People think that, especially from our side, they hired 87,000 agents. Nothing's really going to come for that. No, it's knocking on your door, and you should be terrified that with all the extra manpower, and mind you, from what we've seen so far, it's not very studied manpower. They're just hiring all these fresh people, but it's just the burden of getting through things faster, right? Our normal things, even to this day, we get letters for things from 2018, 2020. They're years behind. But now it's just going to be burning and churning through all these things. And you have to start protecting yourself or being on the greener side of grass so you're aware of what you're getting into.
100%.
Yeah. So.
I mean, they don't pay for wars in Europe.
Without the money there.
That's exactly right. So when all this money is being spent in all these different areas, they got to make sure everybody's paying their fair share, right?
Yeah.
And so you're right. That's why they hired 87,000
because they're trillions of dollars in debt. They got to close the gap.
100%.
We're not getting enough Social Security. We got to close the gap.
100%.
So, and we see that from the states too, right? I would say California is the most on top of it because they need that money desperately. So they're going to make sure they're getting their fair share more often than not. Gosh, so off the tax strategist, let's talk about maximizing deductions. What are some ways that owners can align their insurance policies, maybe like the key man policy as a deduction, to further benefit themselves on the tax side?
So basically anything that's employee related, as you know, like a lot of the stuff that, and correct me if I'm wrong here in any aspect, but from an accountant standpoint, basically everything you can pay out of your business when it comes to your employees, employees including yourselves. Yeah. Right. So any of those employee benefits, key man policies, long-term, short-term disabilities, those types of things. Things that add value not only to your employees and protect your business, but also you can get some tax break with, correct?
Right, correct, yeah. And those are the things that we see, from a financial side. If you can shield yourself, like the key man policy in your business to, protect yourself, those are also things, as long as they're business sponsored, you're able to take those deductions on the tax side. And that's why we're always telling people, even from, retirement things, yes, it costs money, but it is a productive cost measure that protects you, and you get the proper deduction for it on the tax side.
Exactly.
And that's why we're always telling people, sometimes it costs money to save money. And we say that a lot.
100% that.
100% that. It's just like how we, in the world of health insurance, it costs money every single month. Sometimes you don't use your insurance policies ever, but it's that one time, right, that you get in a huge car accident and you have $1 million of hospital bills. Yes, you've paid your whole life into it, but
exactly.
It's
and
that
what's,
one time.
And what's peace of mind worth?
That's
I mean, that's
so
what
a
we're
lot of
talking
people.
about.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Peace of mind is worth a lot. You think about that. That's the number one reason employees look for good medical benefits when they go to work for employers. Why?
Yeah.
They want to make sure they got the peace of mind and knowing my family's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's the bottom line. Yeah. Believe it or not, workers' compensation is the same thing, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making sure the employees know that if something goes wrong, they're going to be covered.
Right.
So that stuff's powerful because peace of mind is worth a lot. You're right. It only takes one thing, one time.
One time.
Yep.
Yeah. And from another standpoint, our small businesses in general have so much on the line, right? We're not, Microsoft, Apple, these huge companies that if something were to happen, a huge lawsuit that can recover.
Right.
So you have to see from how am I going to protect myself? How long is this going to carry me on? Because one bad or a couple bad months could just alter your whole life. Most people are dependent on this.
Right.
Right? Like if something were to happen to someone's small business or they were sick or had to go through treatments for 3 months, could their company, are they the main worker? Could their company keep surviving? So those things are very important. And that's why planning and preparation is so important because no one ever thinks about the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. You've alluded to key person more than once, and I think we're going to touch on that real fast just to kind of clarify what it is just imagine you have a key partner or a key person in your business relies on. Matter of fact, most of its revenue could be generated directly as a result of this person. So what happened if that person is ripped out of your company? What would you do, right? Most businesses actually will fold.
Yeah.
Because they can't get a qualified person in there fast enough, get him trained fast enough. That's what a key person policy does. Yeah. It pays for all of that. And so you definitely want to make sure, think about it. The old adage is there's no such thing as not too much money, but there's definitely a such thing as not enough money.
Yeah.
Right? And in business, you just cannot afford that.
Right.
To your point, Microsoft's got a lot of capital, right?
Yeah.
Probably pretty strong in liquidity, right?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily compare with that. We're all trying to get through, right? Yeah. We got bills to pay.
Yeah. Family-owned businesses, normally it's like, you think about the one person is the face of the company, or like in accounting firms, they got the main CPA. Well, if the main CPA isn't doing taxes or isn't doing this, then what is the business doing?
Right.
Exactly.
100% that.
Yeah. So on the personal side, digging back into your life, tell us about what keeps you going. You've been doing this a long time. What are your plans? Are you going to keep, you good with where you're at? You're keeping growing? Do you have any plans for the business? You trying to, grow in any certain areas? Just give us kind of an insight about what's going on.
Man, this is, it's going to sound corny, but it's true. It's really love.
Yeah.
Love does. Being with you guys, Deirdre, you know what I think about her. Right?
Yes, I know.
And you guys, and just family and my clients, and giving love and getting love back.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes it's tough. I know we all deal with stressed out clients, and in the end, when we let our clients know, we really do care. We do care, and at the end of it all, let's just figure out what the problem is so we can resolve it. So we can come up with some resolutions, right?
Yeah.
And so, honestly, that's what kind of keeps me going. I love sharing with people. I love problem solving.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff. Always was a big puzzle kid when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then how has it impacted my business directly? Probably we're expanding. We're doing a new office in Chandler. My son's come on board. He's going to be.
Wow.
He's the legacy. When you speak legacy, right?
Yeah.
I
didn't know that he was coming on.
He's all excited, and I can't believe he loves it as much as I do, which is kind of exciting to see. So he's involved, and we're growing that aspect, and it's just to keep moving that forward and thinking, how can we help businesses succeed? How can we put them on a playing field with the big boys?
Yeah. How old is your son?
He's 20, he'll be 21. Yeah, actually, he just turned 20. He'll be 21 next August.
Okay.
Yep.
So this question I just have to know because I'm 30, so I'm a millennial. He's probably like a Gen Zer, like, I don't even know. But they think so differently. Tell me how he thinks about the job differently from you. I'm sure there's some differences.
Oh, that's a good question. Here's a funny part.
How does he take on different perspectives, or does he approach things differently? Because we see it a lot. Like, even for me, because I'm right in the middle, my brother, he's 24, he thinks about life a lot differently than I do.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? If I had the answer to that, I'd probably be a billionaire, right? Because I could sell parental books all day long.
Yeah.
In reality, though, this answer may not be what you're looking for. But what I think I've really found out is that we're all more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
Even though we think technology has made us so different, truly people want to connect. What if I were to tell you some of the differences? Maybe I find younger generations like more direct communication because they feel like it's less conflictatory.
Yeah.
They don't really like conflict at all.
Well,
Our generations, and you being in a big family, you know this.
Yes.
Conflict is normal.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to learn and grow through.
Yeah.
Right? And it's vital. I think it's vital to a community.
Yeah.
I would probably tell you that's the only thing. But other than that, it's still people. People still need people.
Well, yeah. So that's what I was wondering about your son. So like my brother, I would say and the younger generation, they just want to know how it is. They want just the truth up front. They don't want the wishy-washy, the diddle-dat. Like back in the day, it was so sales strategy. Like, it was very pushy and all that stuff. And now they just want, let's just talk it out. Let's figure out what it is and let's move forward from it. Let's not round about it so much. And I see that a lot in like older clients that I have is they're like, well, tell me what you're going to do for me. And I'm going to interview 5 or 6 more people. And me, I'm more of a like, let me just tell you what I can offer you. And you tell me if that works for you, if that fits your, what you're looking for. It's more, our younger generation are not a wheeling and dealing generation.
It's interesting you're saying that. Can I challenge that for 1 second?
Sure.
Because let me tell you, here's my thought. This is for you guys.
Okay.
Here's what I know. You ever had a situation where something just seemed not properly communicated?
Yeah.
And typically you feel subjectively about it because you see your point of view. But you made the statement. People just want to know just the way it is. Just tell me the real. Yeah. Well, sometimes the real takes more than a 1-line text.
True.
Okay? There's an old adage called lost in translation.
Yeah.
If you don't take the time to proactively be completely clear, think about how much time you're going to spend resolving that miscommunication.
Right.
Have you ever started a 1-line text in a conversation, caused a big old issue, and then it took hundreds and hundreds of text? Maybe a text that's about a mile long, and you still haven't gotten it resolved? And then you look down and you realize, wow, that 30-second text has cost me 7 hours of clarification. So I don't know, guys. I'm just saying, maybe we should all invest a little bit more time up front to make sure we're clear on it. And maybe the way that person's communicating to you may not be the way you want to hear it, but possibly there's some why, how, what. All of these things need to be addressed in an effective question. Right? I'm not so, think about it. I mean, if I tell you to do something, one of your first questions should be, well, why should I do that? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or maybe the next one would be, well, how would I even do that? When should I do it? Yes. Yeah. I tell folks all the time, why do you think YouTube's so popular? YouTube's popular because it's one of the only mediums that actually shows you how. Yeah. They answer the how question. All the time. And that's why YouTube is huge. Yeah. Right? So the reality is that in your communication, whether you're young or whether you're older, if you spend a little bit more time up front, make sure you got clarification on both ends, let both sides communicate. Yeah. I think it's going to save you a ton of time and a lot of miscommunication. Yeah. That's good business advice too. A lot of our clients want to know all the ins and outs. I'm like, you should want to know all the ins and outs. You need to cover all your bases, and that's why you need to have your lawyer. You got to have your financial advisor, your insurance on the side, your accountant, because you got to ask them all the questions. Just keep asking. I love that, and I'm going to share this. We did this on our show because you're spot on. Yeah. What if your accountant asks you one question you never thought to ask Google? Because it's not your profession. Right. You don't know to ask it. And what if that one question saved you $1 million in a 10-year period? Right. How valuable is that one question? But think about this for a second. What if you never gave that accountant the chance to ask that question? Yeah. Because you already knew all the answers. Right. Think about that.
I think knowledge is endless, and that's why you have to impart on people who have the knowledge. Like me to you, me to the financial advisors, me to, any other person. Like us as accountants, we have to ask so many questions too. I'm not a one-stop shop here.
Right.
No one is.
And it personalized. It's customized to the individual, isn't it?
Right. It is.
I mean, a lot of things are similar, but everybody is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Maybe their why is a little bit different. That makes a difference, right?
Yeah. And we've harped on that a ton. And that's why we started these podcasts, is because I wouldn't say everything is misinformation on the internet, but with the huge uptrend in TikTok, Instagram Reels, all that stuff, there is misinformation. And not everything is a one size fits all. And that's why our first couple episodes, I think the first 3 or 4, harp on, yes, S-Corps are great and they can do this and they can do this. However, your situation isn't the TikToker's situation, isn't this person. Like, everyone's so different. You really have to inquire and open your mind to, I have to figure out more about me, my goals, my expectations, my family, my plans to create something that's, specialized to me. And I don't know if you get that a lot too.
Oh my gosh.
In our industry, we get so much, well, I heard on TikTok, we get emails. I think Dee gets like 5 emails a day. Well, I saw on Instagram, and they'll send us the videos too.
Yeah.
Can I do this?
Yep.
What do you mean? This has nothing to do with you whatsoever.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you deal with that a lot?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So this is a fascinating topic too in and of itself, because we hear this phrase out there, trust the science, right?
Yes.
And that's great, but we're math people.
Yeah.
What do math people know?
Facts.
Trust the math. If
Trust
you ain't got the
facts.
math, right, the science don't matter.
Yeah.
1 + 1 is 2 to everybody.
Every
right?
single day.
So when we say trust the math, what's the importance in that? Well, you got to know all the actual specifics. So I'll give you our example.
Okay.
Car insurance. Everybody out there wants to know, oh my gosh, what's up with my car insurance? Why is car insurance so expensive? The interesting part is, even the younger generations, I'll give you a did you know, just 10 years ago,
Oh, gosh.
insurance companies used 8 rating factors to determine your car rate. You know how many they use today?
20. 5.
About 77 different rating factors.
Wow.
Many of which are technologically based now. That's why they're asking you to download apps and register your driving use. Right?
Yeah.
That's why.
Do you think they're secretly tracking our speeds and stuff through their apps?
Well, just for the record, your actual electronic computer modules all do that already.
Okay.
Whenever we have to go to court in a case and sue, you know how we figure out someone's lying and defrauding?
They just pull their little...
It's the box. So I had a client, was trying to cover his daughter.
Yeah.
Basically, long story short, the daughter said her car was parked.
Yeah.
The insurance company gave them multiple opportunities and finally said, okay, I'm going to call you this last time and say, I'm letting you know, we've subpoenaed for the box. When they pull the box from your car, let me tell you what's in it.
Yeah. Oh, she wasn't parked.
That's exactly right. So guess what happened?
Yeah. There's a will. I tell people, because it makes me think of that Walking Dead show a lot, where like nothing's working, you got to go on foot everywhere, like with all the electric cars. And I have an electric car. So that one day they're going to be able to control anything. They're just going to be able to shut them down. They're going to do whatever they want, and it's going to be game over.
Yeah.
But we can't be released from that kind of society. We're so far into it.
Yep. Can I share one quick thing with you here about the apps that they're downloading and are tracking you? By the way, Google tracks you. Everybody tracks you.
Everyone
you know
tracks
that,
me,
okay?
yeah.
So if you don't want to be tracked, you're pretty much going to have to get rid of your phones and everything you own. It's electronic.
Yeah.
Right? If it's got a semiconductor chip in it, you're being tracked.
Yep.
Bottom line. But here's the cool part. Everybody thinks that the insurance companies, they're bad guys. They want to track everywhere I'm going. And let me tell you the number one reason insurance companies track you with driving apps. You know what it is?
No.
Save lives.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
Them big bad insurance companies, everybody thinks they're so awful. They actually really do want to save lives, because you know what the number one killer today is among young people?
No.
Texting and driving.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
So now they can give you an incentive. If you put the phone down and you don't text and drive, you can save up to 20% on most plans.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
They're trying to give young people an incentive not to text and drive.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it.
I know a ton of people that have like little things they plug into their cars that can tell if they pick up their phone and stuff.
That's exactly right. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, they made it kind of easy to stop texting and driving, you know. Let's just take it into
It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Right?
Wow. Well, that's cool. I'm super happy for your son.
He's excited. He's a good kid.
Are you going to impart any knowledge or wisdom on him?
Well, yeah, kind of in action. I've kind of learned as an You know the best parental advice I got from my dermatologist of all people.
Oh, really?
Bizarre.
Always see your dermatologist.
Always see your dermatologist for parental advice.
Yes.
And basically what he said is, Paul, when they're young, you're a parent.
Yeah.
When they become a teenager, you're an advisor. Wait till they come and ask you for advice. Best advice I ever got
Gosh.
was me learning to be patient and waiting for my kids to ask me for the advice.
I'd say it's a good advice because then you can let them go through their own trials, but still lets them know that they can still count on you.
Right. Well, let's think about it. If somebody knows everything and they're full of pride, are they actually hearing anything you're telling them anyway?
Probably not.
No. Most people learn when they're humbled
Right.
and listening.
Down. Yeah.
Yes.
They need
That's
someone.
right.
They got to lean.
And so it was great advice. So in that regard, back to your question, I'm kind of doing that. I'm letting him shadow me, see what I'm doing, going on a lot of appointments.
Yeah.
He's listening. And then I let him role play. I let him do it.
Yeah.
And then, I trust him.
Yeah.
Trust is a big thing. I tell him right away. I'm like, there's nothing you can do. There's no mistake you can't make that I can't get you out of it.
Totally.
That's what I'm here for. So it's fun. It's been a learning experience. I think the thing to me that kind of makes my heart jump.
The heartstrings.
Yes.
The heartstrings.
Because he didn't know what Dad did, and maybe didn't have a lot of respect for what Dad did till he learned and watched what Dad did. And when he saw me go in and help a business, we literally just recently saved a business from closing.
Wow.
And I say we. The reason I said we, because it's never me alone.
Yeah.
I can't do anything without you. It's everybody together.
Yeah.
In business, it's people,
Yeah.
process, product, or service. Usually, if you got a breakdown, it's in one of those three fields.
Right.
All we got to do is sit down, evaluate where you're at,
Yeah.
look at it, and get you back on track.
Yeah.
And chances are, you've got everything you need. Somewhere along the line, you got off track.
Yeah.
Right?
Just a little loose wheel or something down the road. That's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah, I think that one thing there, him witnessing, I think it really changed the way he looks at what we do.
The perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you just got to find, that one thing that'll keep moving you forward, right? No one likes going to work. No one wants to work every day. I don't want to work every day.
Oh my gosh.
Me and Dee say we're going to go to like Bora Bora all the time. Let's just go to Disneyland today. We always love going to Disneyland.
I love it. Well, guess what money's all about? Money is the means that gives you the power to buy back your time. The wealthy people own all 24 hours of their time. So they get to do what they want with who they want and when they want.
All the time.
And that's all of our goals, right?
Right, yeah.
And in a nutshell, that's what a good accountant helps you do, a good insurance advisor, a good attorney, a good financial planner should put you in a position to get you to where you can buy back 100% of your time.
At the end of your life.
That's right. And so now for the rest of your life, you get to do what you want to do, not what you have to do.
Right.
Big difference.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you diving into your day-to-day, your life, what it's been like.
It's been fun.
In your business industry, imparting on some of the knowledge you have. Super stoked for you and your son. Your legacy will continue.
Oh, yeah, he's on.
I think we all wish for that, right? For our family businesses to keep having their family in it.